Well, joining us to discuss this further is the Labour analyst, Mr. Terry Bell. A very good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Now, do you think that Labour relations have actually improved for the Marikana miners? A very good evening to you, Mr. Bell. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Do you think that the Labour relations have improved for the Marikana miners?
No, not really. I think we've had a few minor improvements, for example, in terms of housing, etc. We have had at least a gain in terms of income, in terms of what the rock drillers, who were the main ones behind the 2012 strike, demanding. They have got what they wanted, and that. However, I think relations are still extremely strained because none of the mining companies actually lived up to their promises in terms of what they said they would deliver. And but this is not just my comment. The Benchmark Foundation have done a survey in the area and discovered that that's precisely what has happened. They've done
Well, in terms of the health and safety issues, it's one of the issues that the labour unions often raise, that they feel that a lot of these mining companies don't actually prioritise safety of the miners. Do you agree that not enough is being done in that regard?
Well, you see, the point here is one always seems to forget that we live within a society, which is a capitalist society, where profit is the sole and dominating factor. So therefore, it's often difficult to, extra safety costs extra money, that sort of thing. So there's always a tendency to cut corners. Now, the mining companies have been, I think, rather good about improving safety conditions. But you see, they also employ, I'm not sure about exactly in that particular, a piecework basis, which means that miners are paid more for the more ore they bring out, which means that they're inclined to perhaps take risks, because their pay depends upon getting more out, and they decide, well, I'll take a risk. And I think that should not be allowed. We should not have that sort of bonus payment work at all. That is one of the things that contributes to the lack of safety and the danger in the mines.
So do you think that perhaps the introduction of a national minimum wage will actually decrease the amount of unnecessary risks that these miners take?
No, not at all. National minimum wages is a nonsense. I mean, the miners all earn more than the national minimum wage. The so-called national minimum wage to come in next year is just under 3,500 Rand a month. I mean, let's face facts. If you have a look at what it costs, and it's been very well costed, what it costs, for example, to raise a child, to give a child between, say, the ages of 2 and 6, an adequate nutritional diet alone, forget about housing, forget about clothing, etc., is more than the child allowance. It's 567 Rand from memory. So the point is, no. The minimum wage has nothing to do with the mining sector, apart from the fact that you might have some companies moving in, small miners, and taking over smaller mines, who will say, we'll pay the minimum wage, which could actually bring down the rates of pay.
And what about the issue of some of the mine workers actually owning shares in the mines? It was raised at the memorial held in Marikana today.
Well, I don't see any reason why, for example, the communities in the area, we have a terrible situation, particularly in the Platinum Belt with the Bafokeng and people like that, where you have traditional leaders, which the mere existence of which is actually, I suppose, contrary to our egalitarian constitution, who actually control the royalty payments. I think that everybody in that area who lives in that area, who's resident in that area, is a citizen of that area, should perhaps have a share in what is given out in terms of royalties. In terms of the mining itself, yes, I think it's a very good idea that the miners should have, being the ones who actually produce the wealth, should have a say in how it is administered, a say in how. But don't forget, overriding this all is a matter of regulation. The government is the one that is supposed to regulate things. Everybody knew that platinum, the platinum price is plummeting. Everybody knew that platinum was primarily used as a catalyst, and a catalyst means something that doesn't change. It merely helps a chemical reaction in auto exhausts. So now we have a huge amount of platinum coming back as recycled platinum. Now, that should have been foreseen. There was this whole money part of the and government.
Well, just lastly, the Mineral Resources Minister, Gwede Mantashe, mentioned to investors that he feels that the mining sector is actually picking up. Do you agree that there is a brighter future ahead for the sector?
Well, not for workers necessarily. The mining sector may well pick up, but it'll be through mechanization and automation.
Mm-hmm.
Since we have the number of prospective and announced job losses over the next couple of years. Because mechanization, yes, I think the mining sector could pick up in terms of producing more ore, making more profits, giving more taxes to the government, but at the cost of a massive loss of jobs.
Well, Mr. Bell, thank you very much for having joined us this evening and for sharing your expertise with us here on Afro World View.